Okay, now we can now have the rough sketch of our polynomial functions. Okay. In graphing, there are only 4 steps actually. We have to do 4 steps of solving and 4 steps for the graphing. May mga kailangan kasi muna tayong gawin bago natin ma-graph yung polynomial. So first is what we call your leading coefficient test. Ano yung leading coefficient test na yan? It will help us determine the end behavior of your graph or also what we call the tail of your graph. So sa tail, may dalawa tayo, the left and the right. So naaalala nyo pa po ba ang inyong parabola? So for example, this is your parabola. Diba? Yung parabola either upward or downwards lang naman. Ang tail po dito, eto, yung may arrowheads. So ayan. Left tail, ito yung left. Yan. While your right tail, ito namang kabila. Okay? Kabila naman si right. So, yun lang po yung pinagkaiba nila, left and right. So, ang itsura lang ng buntot, either upward or downward. Step 2. Sa step 2 naman po natin, we have to get the x-intercepts. When we speak of x-intercept, we are just letting the value of y equal 0. So, kapag y equals 0, ibig sabihin, we also call these intercepts as roots of your polynomial or the zeros. Kailangan nyo rin pong i-take note ang multiplicity ng inyong roots. Ma'am, ano yung multiplicity? Ibig lang po sabihin ng multiplicity, ilang beses nag-appear yung root na yon or ilan yung root na ganon. If your multiplicity is even, the graph touches the x-axis or when we speak of touch, it bounces at the x-axis. When your multiplicity is odd, the graph now crosses the x-axis. While if your multiplicity is greater than 1, take note na medyo magfa-flat ang ating graph. So ngayon maiisip nyo, ma'am, parang ang hirap naman yan, ba't ganyan? Later, explain ko po ulit yan sa example. Number 3 is to simply find your y-intercept. And how do we do that? Kanina sa number 2, y equals 0. So dito, gagawin mo lang si x na 0. Then solve for y. Ganun lang po. And for number 4, we have to determine the maximum turning points of your graph. Dito, to just check kung tama ba yung ginagawa natin. So the formula there is n minus 1. Again, your n is the degree of your polynomial. Bawasan mo lang ng isa. Let's have first our cheat sheet. Komodigo muna tayo kasi hindi pa tayo familiar. So we have here 4 different cases. For case 1, it tells you that the degree is odd while the leading coefficient is positive. Left down, right up. Sa number 2 naman po, of course, it's still odd, but now the leading coefficient is negative. Kabaligtaran naman ni positive odd natin kanina. So, left up, right down. Next, kung meron tayong odd, meron din tayo for the even degree. Positive, even. Both up. So, kapag negative even naman, since negative yan, babaligtad lang. Both down naman. So, let's start with this first problem. We have there p of x is equal to x cubed plus 3x squared minus x minus 3. So before we proceed, let's have first our cheat sheet. Gawa muna tayo ng kodigo para hindi tayo mahirapan. Kanina sinabi ko na kung paano yung even positive, 'di ba? So baka naalala nyo lang paano nga uli itong even positive na to. 'Di ba sabi, pareho lang going up. Sulat nyo na yung up, up. Kapag even negative, kabaliktaran, down, down. Sa odd positive naman, it's down, up. And then kabaligtaran sa odd negative, so it's up, down. Next, for the multiplicity of root, it will bounce at your x-axis kung anong point man yon. And then for the odd, it will just go across your x-axis. Oh, mamaya papaliwanag natin kung para saan yan. So, first, we have there p of x is equal to x cubed plus 3x squared minus x minus 3. Okay, so in this case, step 1 is the leading coefficient test. Alamin natin ang degree and the sign. So in this case, we have here the degree of your polynomial as 3. At ang 3 ba ay odd or even? This is odd. Also, check its sign. Ang x cube natin ay positive. So, positive odd. Mamaya sa graph, gagamitin natin yung positive odd. So, asan yung positive odd? Ito yon. This will be the tails of our polynomial later. Step 2 na tayo, x-intercept. So, sa x-intercepts, to do that, ang una po natin ginagawa is the rational root theorem. Para saan yung rational root theorem? Para ma-minimize yung choices natin sa possible roots. So, para ma-minimize, we will use your RRT. Remember, this is P over Q. And your P over Q, ito po yung P, yung constant, and your Q is the leading coefficient. So, just right there, that's negative 3 divided by 1. So, it's still negative 3. Ngayon, ano yung factors ni negative? Positive negative 1 or positive negative 3. Pwede doon ang pagpilian mo. We can now proceed with your synthetic division. For synthetic division, again, our first step is to simply copy their coefficients. So for our divisor, try natin si positive 3. Hindi 0 yung remainder, ibig sabihin mali ang positive 3. Okay, we can try other numbers for this. Let's try the negative, okay? So negative 3. We are done with our first root. Since our exponent or the degree is 3, tatlo dapat ang mapalabas nating root. Okay? So now let's try the next one. We will just get the opposite of this. Ano yung opposite ng negative 1 natin? Opposite sign. So it's just positive 1. Let's write. You have there negative 3, negative 1, and 1. Now, check its multiplicity. Again, what is multiplicity? Ilang beses, ilang roots. Ilan yung roots na yon? So, ilan yung negative 3, di ba? Isa lang. Ilan yung negative 1? Isa lang din. Ilan yung 1? Isa lang din. So, ano ba yung 1 na yan? Di ba odd number yan? At ano nga yung sabi sa kodigo nating isa sa taas? Kapag ka-odd, so take note, kapag ka-odd, ang graph mag-go across. So, susulat mo lang doon, okay, across daw to. Let's go to step number 3. So, for step number 3, we have to get your y-intercept. Just change x to 0. So, this is your y. This is 0, 0, 0. Ay, ganun lang pala kasimple yun. Napansin nyo, ng ating y-intercept ay yung constant. Last step, turning point. Again, this is the maximum number of turning points or yung U-turn na tinatawag. So, in this case po, yung step na yan, gagamitin naman natin para sa ating graphing. Now, pwede na tayo mag-graph. Let's start with our Cartesian plane with x-axis and y-axis. And intervals para mas madali ang plotting of points natin. Okay. Step 1, the leading coefficient test. So, bago tayo mag-step 1, i-plot muna natin yung mga point. Okay? Plot lang natin yung mga point. Ano-ano yung mga point na yon? X and Y. So, nasaan po yan? So, di ba, merong negative 3 kay X, merong negative 1, at meron ding positive 1. Sa Y, negative 3 daw po yun. So, ito naman yun. Na-plot mo na. So, puntahan mo na si leading coefficient test. So, babalik tayo sa kodigo mo sa taas. Uy, sabi, down and up. Paano yung down and up? Hahanapin mo lang yung pinakakanan at pinakakaliwang x-intercept. Okay? So, sa pinakakaliwa, negative 3 yon. Just put down yung tail. And then, sa pinakakanan naman, yung positive 1, ito naman up. Ayan na, may buntot ka na. Next, Step 2, x-intercepts and its multiplicity. So, dito, nakita nyo, lahat ang lumabas across. So, ma'am, paano po yung across na yan? Ang gagawin lang po natin ay tatawid ang ating mga point. So, patatawirin ko lang muna itong mga point na to. Yan. So, from the buntot, check nyo lang po uli itong, pinaka-left nating buntot. Yan, tatawid. So, across, tatawid. Ayun, tumawid. Guhitan mo lang sobrahan. Next, punta ka naman kay negative 1. So, si negative 1 mo, ganun uli across. Since tumawid na dun si negative 3, ibaba mo ngayon. O, ayun, across. Okay? Last, paano naman si positive 1? Si positive 1 across pa din. So, from kanang buntot, ayan yung kanang buntot natin. Pag across, patawirin mo lang din. O, ayan, nakatawid na. Yan. So, para maging maayos po ang ating graph, idudugtong natin sila. When we connect the points and the lines, make sure to use a curve. Hindi po straight, dapat curve. Pag ko-connect-connectin mo lang yan. Idadamay mo yung y-intercept, huwag mong kalimutan yan. So, paaayusin lang natin. So, dito kasi simulan uli sa left. So, ganito. Ganyan. Curve dapat, curve. Curve. Okay. So, yan ang ating graph, yung kulay pula. Okay, ayan na yung graph mo. Now, let's count the turning point. Tignan niyo po yung turning point natin. Dapat daw dalawa. Hanapin mo lang yung pa-letter U dyan. So, tignan nyo, di ba ito yung pa-letter U dyan? Yan. Sunod, ito yung pangalawang turning point. O, tignan natin ngayon kapag gumamit naman ng graphing tool kung tama. 1. Sa cheat sheet natin, so in this case, if the polynomial is in factored form, all we need to do is to add the exponents of these factors. 3 plus 2 plus 2. It gives you 7. Therefore, this is an odd degree of polynomial. Next, check the sign. So since lahat naman yan positive, you just put positive. So, titignan uli natin. On your cheat sheet, we know that the odd positive is down up. So, that's how the tails look like. Next, for the multiplicity of roots, this is easier now kasi you just have the factors. So, remember to rewrite that factors x. Equate mo yung tatlong factors na yan into 0. Ganyan lang po. I-rewrite lang po. O ngayon, ma'am, anong silbi ng mga exponent? Di ba yan po yung multiplicity natin? So next, for the y-intercept, still the same po ang gagawin natin. Turning point is equal to n minus 1. Again, this is just the maximum number. So now, let's proceed with its graph. Okay, mag-graph na po tayo. Ang gagawin ko ngayon, magdodrawing ulit ako ng x and y axis. Napansin ko na yung y ko negative 32. So, ibig sabihin, ay, napakababa nun. Napakababa. Negative kasi. 'Di ba? So, sa x ko, that's just 1, 2, 1, 2. Pero sa 32 ko, isipin ko na lang nandito yung negative 32 natin, ha? Kasi medyo malalim. So, again, don't forget, ang unang ginagawa is to plot the points. So, start with positive 2. Meron din tayong negative 1, tsaka negative 2. And, of course, your y-intercept negative 32. Okay. Leading coefficient test, ano nga daw itsura ng buntot? Sabi, down, up. So, down, up. Down sa kaliwa, up sa kanan. Next, puntahan natin yan. Di ba ito po ay negative 2. So, ito siya. Negative 2. Sabi, bounce. So, pag sinabing bounce, mula sa buntot, bounce, bababa. Hindi pataas, sa pababa uli. Next, punta naman natin si negative 1. Si negative 1 naman, ayun. Si negative 1, ayan naman, di ba? Negative 1, bounce uli. So, paano yung bounce? Dahil ito po yung dulo kanina, idudugtong mo lang siya pataas doon. Tapos, bounce uli, pababa na uli. Last, paano naman si positive 2? Sabi kay positive 2, ito yung positive 2 mo, ayun, sabi across. So, from that buntot sa taas, pababa. O, i-connect-connect mo ngayon yung mga lines. Dapat, tatamaan ngayon yung y-intercept dun sa baba. Aayusin natin. Unahin natin sa left pa din. So, sa left, medyo makapal. Ayan. So, ganyan ang itsura ng magiging graph natin. I-delete ko lang yung mga sobra-sobra natin. Next, bilangan na natin ang turning point. So, 1. Dito, 2. Tapos ito sa baba, 3. Tapos yun, 4. Alam ma'am, bakit 4 lang yung turning points? Eh, di ba sa kinompute mo, 6? Remember that this turning point is the maximum number. So, hindi lalagpas sa kanya, pero pwedeng mas mababa. So, dito, 4 turning points tayo. Okay lang po yan. Huwag lang lalagpas sa 6.